Nikki Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef. Welcome back to my kitchen. We are going to power cook tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've got our chicken already ready here in my Deluxe multi-cooker. I'm going to release the steam. So I skipped this step for the live video just because it takes a little bit of time. So I'm going to turn this so that I can release the steam away from me. So I'm going to press cancel. This has been on the warm setting for 5 minutes. And what you're going to do to release the steam, there's an X button on the front. So I'm going to press the X first just to tell the multi-cooker, hey, I'm done cooking. And then I'm going to press the steam release button. So we're going to let all the steam release. Now while that's happening, make a little bit of noise here. Please click that share button on your screen or your phone, your tablet, whatever device that you're watching. Click the share button. One of the best things that you can do for me is to share my videos so that your friends and your family can also learn more about how to cook. Power cooking, which is basically making several meals at one time, freezing them so that they're available when you need them. But I know how expensive groceries are these days. I know how expensive gas is, and I certainly know how expensive eating out in a restaurant is. That's something that my family tries not to do on a too often. We do splurge, every maybe once or twice a week, we have a meal out, whether it's, Chick-fil-A, or sometimes we do go to a sit-down restaurant. But I try to limit that because the amount of money that we spend on one meal in a sit-down restaurant is what I would spend for almost a whole week of groceries before all the prices went up. Now I'm spending almost double. So it's getting harder and harder to save money when feeding your family. And so cooking at home is one of the best things that you can do to save money and save time. How much time do you waste going to the restaurants, waiting for a table, sitting down, ordering your food, waiting for them to cook it, waiting for them to bring it to you, eating it, and then driving back home? There's so much time involved in that, but it feels like it's convenient because you're not doing the cooking. But if you have the right tools and just a little bit of time, put forth a little bit of effort, you're gonna have these meals ready for you when you need them. So my steam is released. If you're not familiar with the multi-cooker, I have lots of videos showing the multi-cooker and the quick cooker on my YouTube channels. I love the multi-cooker because we added this really cool feature where you can prop the lid so that I don't have to find a place to put that. And in my multi-cooker right now, I have 3 pounds of chicken. I cook this on the poultry setting. You could do it for 10 to 15 minutes. I always cook it, just the poultry default setting is 15, so my brain just automatically goes to 15 minutes. So I think Pampered Chef's recipe says to do it for 10 minutes. Either way, I cut these into bite-sized pieces, cooked it on the poultry setting for 15 minutes. I let the steam, I just manually released the steam. I didn't have to wait 5 minutes. That just happened to be how long it was between when this was finished and before I was able to do it with you guys here tonight. So to let you know how I got ready for this, I used my Pampered Chef digital scale, and I just placed a bowl on here, pressed the tare button to reset this to 0, and then I weighed out almost 3 pounds of chicken. So you're gonna try to be approximate as close as you can. 3 pounds of chicken, and then I dice them up, put them in there with 1 cup of water. The recipe does say that you can use chicken broth, but I feel like you don't really need to use chicken broth because you're cooking the chicken in the water and it's gonna turn it to broth anyways. I feel like that's an expense you can cut. Just use water unless you just really want to use chicken broth, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get started on one piece of the recipe I'm going to show you in its entirety, and that is we're going to cook the rice. So this is not part of the prep ahead. This is what you're going to do the night that you want to serve this dish, and this is our chicken stir fry. So I'm going to show you how to make 3 recipes. Chicken stir fry, Dijon chicken noodle toss, and a cheesy chicken tortilla soup. Those are the 3 recipes I'm going to show you how to freeze, but we're going to finish the chicken stir fry tonight. And we need rice to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the microwave so that it can start cooking. This is our 3-quart micro cooker, and it does have a little extra lid. This lid keeps starchy foods from boiling over. I'm going to add 2 cups of rice. You can use long grain rice, you can use jasmine rice, whatever rice you have on hand, you pretty much can use it in here. I'm going to add 4 cups of water, and I'm just going to cook this as plain rice. If you wanted to spice this up, you could add in some of our Asian seasoning. That's the seasoning that we're going to use in the recipe, and anytime you want to make your rice just a little bit more flavorful, you can do that. So you guys hang tight. I'm going to pop this in my microwave, and I'm going to set that for 20 minutes. So I'll be right back. All right, bring my water closer to me. Okay, Thank you, Lisa. I think you're watching. Thanks for my cup. I love it and I use it all the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and prep this chicken stir fry recipe together. I do want to give you a couple of tips. So let me just cheat a little bit. I'm going to use some notes. My friend Christina Bailey, if you're watching, thank you so much for condensing all of these resources that Pampered Chef shared with us. Made my job a lot easier tonight, so I appreciate that, friend. You can cook this chicken on the stovetop. You can cook it on your grill. You can use Pampered Chef's grill and griddle. You can use the microwave if you have the rock crock or the deep covered baker. So there's lots of options for cooking the chicken if you don't have the multi-cooker. So don't stress out. You can also use an Instapot if you have one of those. Now, a couple of freezing and defrosting tips for you. And I'm just going to read this because that's the best way for me to get you this information quickly. For the freshest flavor, you're going to use chicken that hasn't been previously frozen because refreezing the meat really compromises the texture and the flavor. So if you're somebody who has a lot of chicken in your freezer right now already frozen, it's best to start with fresh if you're going to be freezing these meals for later. Each of these recipes, which I'm going to share tomorrow in my recipe community, so if you're not familiar with where to find that, go to theflipflopchef.com. There's a button at the top of the page. It'll redirect you to my recipe community. I'm going to post all the recipes and resources there, but you can make each of these recipes individually with 1 pound of chicken. So we're doing 3 pounds of chicken for 3 recipes today. Freeze your foods in freezer bags. So if you look on here, this is Ziploc. Let me find it in English. Freezer, it says freezer on here. Make sure you're using freezer bags. That helps you avoid freezer burn, and we're going to try to press these out as flat as we can. Don't store your chicken on the freezer door because temperature fluctuations from opening and closing sometimes cause freezer burn and can reduce the shelf life. Let's see. The chicken mixture can also be frozen in plastic freezer containers. So if you're like, you know what, I don't really want to do all this Ziploc bag stuff. I just want to have the chicken ready to go. You can cook it all and put it in individual, like Tupperware. Tupperware brand are great for freezing. I know I have a couple of customers probably watching. I think Christina might be on here. If you are, feel free to drop your link for Tupperware because that's a great product to freeze things in. Label and date your bags, which I did that ahead of time because I was afraid I might forget. And the easiest way to defrost these is to just put it in the refrigerator the day before you're ready to cook it, like the night before. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to prep out our stir fry first. But what I want to do before we do that is I want to go ahead and section out my chicken. So let's do that so we have 3 equal portions of chicken. I could weigh these on my scale if I wanted to, but I'm going to just eyeball this. So this is our coating tray set. I love these because they overlap. Oops, together, I can't hold those 3 that way. I'm going to take my scoop and drain. If you don't have one of these, you got to get one. And if you need a link to shop, please let me know. I am more than happy to share a link with you. If you are new here and this is the first video that you have watched with me, I am a consultant with the Pampered Chef. I would love the opportunity to earn your business. And if you can drop your comment and I will leave you a link to shop once the video is over. And if you have questions for me along the way, leave them in the comments. It's going to take me a little time tomorrow to go through everybody's questions, but I'm going to do my best to answer everybody timely so that you have the information that you need. So please, if you're just now joining, let us know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, let us know that too. All right, if this is your first video with me, I would love to know that. I know that I have a lot of customers that were excited about this, but I saw so many names that I didn't recognize before, and so I was really, really excited. Okay, so I'm almost done here, and the cool thing about this is all that chicken broth is in the pot, so I can save that for later. I'm gonna just put the lid on here and close this up, turn this off, and slide it out of the way. I'm going to use a burner in a little while. So for now, let's just get our chicken set aside. So I'm going to let this cool just a little bit, but we're going to make our chicken stir fry. And I have my recipe. I have my chicken stir fry here, and I have my chicken stir fry recipe and my chicken stir fry written on the bag here. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to add our vegetables to, it says for bag 1, we're going to do our chicken, our frozen edamame, and some stir fry sauce. And in bag 2, we're going to do 2 carrots peeled and julienne, 3 cups of broccoli florets, and 2 tablespoons of Pampered Chef's Asian seasoning. So this is going to be my outer bag. I'll tell you, I did this a little bit differently than the recipe says because I don't want the food from, I don't want bag 2 to get wet from the contents of bag 1. So I'm going to be using 3 bags per recipe, okay? And this also keeps my recipe from getting dirty because I'm gonna put it inside and it goes in the freezer, so you're not looking for that recipe when you're ready to make this. So let's get another bag, and this is gonna be bag number 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour in bag number 1. We're gonna add 1 cup of edamame, which I've already measured out, and I'm gonna use this plastic mixing bowl here just kind of as a stand for these bowls. And we're gonna put our edamame in there. I measured that out in our prep bowl to make it easy. We're gonna do 2/3 cup of stir-fry sauce. You could use Pampered Chef's teriyaki sauce if you like. This is just General Tso's stir-fry sauce from Trader Joe's. So don't feel like you have to have the exact same brands or the exact same thing. Just stir-fry sauce. You can get something at Walmart or Publix, wherever you are shopping. So we're gonna do 2/3 cup of our stir-fry sauce. I'm just gonna scrape this. Whoops, it helps if I push it down. Scrape this out. And then we're gonna add in our chicken. So let's toss this in. I like these coating trays because they fit nicely on the inside of that bag too. All right, so this is bag number 1. Because my chicken is still hot, I'm gonna just let this kind of sit for just a minute. We're gonna cook this recipe tonight, so I'm not as worried about that one, but the other ones, I wanna let them cool down a little bit before I put them in the freezer. So for bag number 2, we need 2 carrots. We're gonna peel these, I've already washed them. We're gonna peel them and julienne cut. Now, if you think you're gonna have to do this with a knife, don't worry. Pampered Chef has the best tools, and we have a peeler set, and in that set are 3 peelers. You have a regular vegetable peeler, a julienne peeler, and our serrated peeler. So we're gonna use the serrated peeler and the julienne peeler, and you're going to love these. So I'm gonna zoom in so that you can get a closer look here. So I'm gonna just take my serrated peeler from one end and slide to the other. And I will tell you, these are super sharp, so make sure that you're careful when you are using these peelers and don't cut yourself. And if you poke yourself with this julienne peeler, it will cut you. Ask me how I know. All right, so I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Don't forget to leave me your comments. If you haven't clicked that share button yet, please do. It really means a lot to me when you guys share my videos, because I know that you know somebody who needs help in the kitchen, whether it be learning how to cook or learning how to save money by prepping their meals ahead of time, or just cooking in general. So this is our julienne peeler. So I'm gonna start at the fat end and slide down. Check this out. You get these really cool strips. We're gonna do that again. And then I'm just gonna slowly rotate this carrot so that I can get the most possible. Now, if you end up with scraps of vegetables, what you can do is take a Ziploc bag or one of Pampered Chef's reusable silicone bags, and you'll be able to put all of those vegetable scraps in the bag, and when the bag is full, dump the bag in the multi-cooker or your pressure cooker or a stock pot on the stove, and you will be able to make your own vegetable stock, which is another way that you can save money. And if you're making a chicken dish and it calls for chicken stock or chicken broth, and you have the vegetables in your freezer, just make it with the vegetable broth. It's not that big of a deal. The chicken is going to give you the broth that you need. All right, or the flavor that you need. So we're gonna take our carrots. I'm gonna pop this bag right in the bowl here. This is pretty easy because I'm not really pouring liquid, but we're gonna put our stir-fried veggies in here. Get all those carrots. And we're gonna add our broccoli. And I went ahead and measured out 3 cups of broccoli in my cut and store containers, and I love these because they're plastic, but they also have a little cutting board built right in. So if you haven't checked these out, these come in a set of 2. You're gonna love these. And then we're gonna add our Asian seasoning mix. This is a Pampered Chef seasoning, which you can purchase from me. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons. And if you don't know this already, our dry rubs and seasonings are gluten-free and they're kosher. All right, so we've got our 2 bags. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna do a lot of shuffling of products and dishes here. I'm gonna just kind of lay this flat and get as much air as I can. If you have a food saver, you could certainly use that, and it would make your freezing, even better. But remember, this recipe, we're not even freezing. So I'm gonna take this bag and put it inside of my labeled bag. Now, the recipe tells you to put that bag of vegetables right inside of this bag, which has wet food in it, and I just don't want to do that because I don't want the bag to get really wet. But that's a personal preference. I'm sort of pressing this out so that it's flat because they will defrost faster if they're in the smaller, they're not in one big hunk. You can put this in here, and then we're gonna take this recipe, remember? And you put it inside of the dry bag. Look how quick and easy that is. Seal this up, and then, let me show you another trick. Hang on, I gotta make some room here. Take a sheet pan. We have lots of different size sheet pans. And you can actually place this on the sheet pan. You can work on getting more air out of that bag if you want. And then freeze them on top of the sheet pan in the freezer, and it's gonna help them freeze flat and stay flat and take up less room in your freezer. So that is our chicken stir fry. So if you have questions, be sure, leave those in the chat for me so that I can answer those for you later. The next recipe that we're gonna make is our Dijon chicken noodle toss. So I've got all of our ingredients prepped here, and we're just gonna cheat and use the recipe. And the first bag, it says we're gonna add 1 portion of the chicken and 2 cups of frozen or canned peas. So I had canned peas, so that's what we're gonna use tonight. So what we're gonna do, let me just move some of this out of the way here. I'm gonna drain this in my sink. So let's open my can. If you haven't seen the can opener yet, it's really cool. It's smooth edge can opener, leaves a smooth edge on the lid and on the can. So you're gonna attach this like that. Can you guys see? And then twist all the way around until you bypass your starting point. So I always start at the front of the can so that I know when I'm all the way around. And then you're gonna turn counterclockwise to release the can. There's a little button on the side. You're gonna press that, and it has a little pincher on the other side. Peel that right off. Let me get my bag ready. And we're gonna put this in with our chicken. Hope you guys are following me. I hope I'm not going too fast for you. Hope I'm not going too slow for you. I have never been accused of that, but I have been accused of going too fast. All right, so we're gonna drain the peas, and I'm gonna pour them in my little tray that I have the chicken in so that I don't drip it. And what we'll do, let this cool off a little bit. That's our bag number 1. Bag number 2, let's see. Bag number 2, we're gonna put 4 ounces of ham, which I've already weighed that out on my scale. We're going to dice that up in just a second. We're gonna put 1 can of cream of chicken soup, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, and we're gonna put that in the second bag. So this is super easy, right, you guys? Are you guys all still with me? I hope so. So this one you're gonna serve with pasta, so that's the part that you do later. And so since I'm not showing you this one from start to finish like I am the first recipe, let me tell you what you're gonna do. So when you're ready to use this, you can freeze this for up to 3 months. When you're ready to use this recipe, take it out of your freezer. The night before is ideal. Let it defrost or defrost it in your microwave. Try not to defrost food on the counter. It's just not food safe to do that because food can spoil a lot faster than you think. When you're ready to serve it, you're gonna cook 12 ounces of rotini pasta, just according to the package directions. Drain off the pasta. And then you're gonna place a half a cup of water and the contents of bag number 2 in a 12-inch skillet. Cover and bring to a simmer over medium-high heat and stir occasionally. Then add 8 ounces of sour cream, reduce the heat to medium, and add the contents of bag 1. And then it says, cover and cook for 4 to 6 minutes until the chicken is hot, stirring occasionally. Toss the cooked pasta with some parsley and spoon the mixture over the pasta and sprinkle with Parmesan cheese. Like, how easy is that? It's such an easy recipe, right? So let's get the rest of our ingredients ready to go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice up this ham. And this is one of our prep bowls. It comes with these really cool lids. I'll zoom in so you guys get a closer look for this. I'm just going to take a knife. I'm using our small Santuco knife. So this just says cut into 1/4-inch pieces. So we're gonna just slice this and then turn it. It's easier to turn the food than it is to turn the knife. dice your ham. I almost said chicken. So this recipe has both ham and chicken. Now, if you don't know about our flexible cutting mats, I love these because it makes it really easy for me, especially if I'm pouring into a Ziploc bag. Just toss that right in. Super easy. Now we're gonna add a can of cream of chicken soup. Now I know that this has a pop top on it, but I'm still gonna use my can opener. Excuse me while I take a sip of water. All right. Just like before, start at the front, go all the way around, and then use that little claw. And I'm gonna use my scoop and spread. I love the silicone on one end, nylon on the other. Just gonna scrape this in. Now, if you follow me on my recipe community, you know that I usually don't use cream of chicken soup. It is definitely easier, but I usually make it myself because I don't use it very often, and so it's not something I have in my pantry. And it's super easy to make. So if you would like a recipe for that, just comment and I'll share the one that I usually use. But we're gonna do our ham and cream of chicken soup. Now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. So I'm gonna use my Easy Read Petite Measure-All cup or Mini Measure-All, I can't remember what we call that one now. 2 tablespoons of that, and press this right in. Scrape that off the top. All right, let's see. So we've got our ham, soup, Dijon mustard. That's it. So these are super easy. You could probably do this one in a quart-size bag because it didn't take up that much space. So if you wanted to use a smaller bag, you see how I'm just sort of pressing this in, but I don't want to press that mustard everywhere, but I want to get it in like a flat space and then seal my bag. Okay, so this says Dijon chicken noodle toss, has my date on there, because remember these will stay fresh for 3 months. And same thing with our peas and our chicken. I'm gonna just flatten this out a little bit. Try not to crush the peas, I crushed a couple of them. Get as much air as you can out of the bags, and then seal bag number 2. Put this in my outer bag. Take the recipe so that you don't have to look for it when you're ready to make this, and it stays nice and clean right there. And zip that up, and I'm gonna lay it on top of the other one. So you guys ready to make the last recipe? Cheesy chicken tortilla soup. So let's get those ingredients. I had to move them over here, I ran out of counter space. So we're gonna make cheesy chicken tortilla soup, and I've got my recipe right here. So in bag 1, we're gonna do chicken, crushed tortilla chips, and a can of corn. So I'm gonna rinse my colander because we're gonna use this for a can of corn. Set that there for the moment. And we're gonna crush our chips. So let's get a bag for our 3rd portion of chicken. So we're gonna add our chicken. Now, if you didn't want to dice these up into bite-sized pieces before you cook them, you could cook the breast whole. It would take a little longer to cook. And then you could take your salad choppers and chop those out. I think I can drain this right here in my prep tray, so I'm gonna do that. So we've got a can of corn, and it says 2 cups, my eyes aren't so good. 2 cups of corn, frozen or canned. This is close to 2 cups, so it's what I had, so I went with it. So we're gonna drain that corn, pour it in our bag number 1. And then we're gonna add our crushed tortilla chips. So to crush these chips, you're gonna measure them before you crush them. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, do I measure these before or after I crush them, or before I crush them, you're gonna measure them, then crush them. Let me set this aside. I'm running out of room over here. Okay, so our 3-cup prep bowl, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these in. Actually, if I was smart, I would have put them in this bag first and just crushed them in there, but I didn't think of that. And then I wouldn't be wasting another bag. Now I was hesitant to mix in crushed chips. I didn't seal this all the way. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys heard that thunder at my house. Keith and I are always talking about how much louder the thunder and the lightning and how much crazier the lightning is here in Florida. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but I felt like the whole house shook. All right. I was hesitant to put these crispy chips in the bag of chicken and corn, but it's okay. You can garnish this with more if you like. We're just gonna add all of this in. And I'm gonna turn off my microwave. Hang on just a second, because it'll keep beeping at us. Let's get our rice. All right, so we'll set the rice aside. So we've got in our bag 1, chicken, crushed chips, and our can of corn kernels. So let's go ahead and press this out a little bit, make it flat. And when you're ready to serve this one, you're gonna mix the second bag, which we haven't made yet. You're gonna mix bag 2 with 2 cans of chicken broth, and you're gonna cook that over medium heat, and then you're gonna add the contents of this bag and simmer for 4 to 6 minutes. So let's set this aside. And then for bag number 2, we are going to add 8 ounces of American cheese. You could use Velveeta if you wanted, or you could just buy American cheese like this. And then you're gonna cut this into cubes. Now I'm gonna use an old Pampered Chef product, so don't fall in love with this one because I can't sell it to you. But I love this because the cheese doesn't stick to the knife. If you have one of these, you may have a different color. They are awesome. We're gonna also add a can of Rotel. I'm gonna break these up just a little bit. It may not matter, but that's what I'm gonna do. All right, we're gonna add Rotel. You're not gonna drain the Rotel. And we're gonna add one of Pampered Chef's Mexican flavored rubs. So I'm gonna use carnitas. You could use Chipotle, you could use Tex-Mex, Southwest seasoning, whatever you like. That's the seasoning we're gonna use in this. And the Chipotle is a little bit spicy. So if you prefer less spicy, I would go with the Southwest seasoning or the carnitas. The carnitas is my favorite. Southwest seasoning is a very, very close second. Okay, so I separated those just a little bit. Let's go ahead and add our seasonings. So 2 tablespoons of our, and I'm using carnitas, but the recipe calls for Chipotle. And this is one that I keep extra because I love it so much. All right, our can of Rotel. We're almost ready to make the other recipe. So what do you guys think? Could you guys do this? Do you feel confident that this is something that you could do for yourself in your kitchen? Give yourself, an hour, and you can prep all 5 of these meals if you want. So we're just doing 3 tonight, but you could easily prep all 5 of them. All right, so remember, if you have questions for me, leave them in the chat so that I can answer those for you later. And if you haven't shared this video yet, I would love for you to do that. I'm just pressing this out. Don't want to lose my juices. Now, if you are new here, please also go to theflipflopchef.com and join my recipe community. So one of the fun things that I do in my recipe community every single Friday is something called Flip Flop Friday. So if you're part of the group, if you've ever won, please leave a comment. Let people know that you have won that prize giveaway. Every Friday I give away something fun from Pampered Chef, and last Friday I gave away all 4 of our meal mixes. So depending on what I'm giving away, you may like some things more than others. A few weeks ago I gave away a $50 gas card because let's talk about gas. I just try to not buy gas and groceries on the same day. Anybody else? I'm just over all this. I know you guys are too. So Flip Flop Friday is fun. I've given away Amazon cards, Starbucks cards. I've given away all kinds of things. Most of the time, it is Pampered Chef. Okay, we're gonna put our recipe in there and then seal this up, getting as much air out as possible. And let me remind you how I stacked these. I gotta make room, you guys. So let's bring our stir fry onto the top. But you see how I have these stacked here? There we go. When I put this in the freezer, I can carry this just like this, put it right on the shelf in the freezer, and it's gonna defrost faster because they're in these thin layers. So, are you guys ready to make the chicken stir fry together? So let's pretend that I froze this and I've defrosted it, and now we're gonna make the chicken stir fry. So let me set these aside. I'll move a couple things out of the way. I'm even gonna move my multi-cooker. So you guys can talk amongst yourself for like 30 seconds while I move this out of the way and get my burner back over here. All right. Super easy, right? I'm gonna get my wok. All right. Let's see. If you are not familiar with our stainless non-stick wok, this thing is awesome. Check out how deep this is. Like, it is super deep, perfect for the stir fry that I'm about to show you how to make. But I love this for lots of reasons. But one of the things about my new kitchen, which is not really a new kitchen anymore, I've been here 2 years, as of just like 2 days ago. My stove top here is induction, and so I can only use magnetic cookware. So if you're watching and you need cookware for your induction stovetop, this cookware is the very best. It's the best that you can find. I've been so impressed with it. And we have 4 different sizes. We have an 8.5 inch, a 10 inch, and a 12 inch, and the wok. They all have a glass lid. They can go in the oven, they can go on the stovetop, and they can go in the dishwasher. And my favorite thing, I don't have a metal utensil here, but check this out. You can put metal on here, okay? Like, I don't have to worry about scratching up this pan. But coming July 1st, earlier than we expected, I know there was a delay, we have these awesome new nylon tools. These are amazing. I've been using them in my kitchen since early spring, and I absolutely love them. My favorite one is the new silicone fish spatula. So hang tight, July 1st, you're gonna be able to purchase these. We have a whole line, and then we have this really cool spatula here too. It's flat, but you can use it for like eggs and stir fries and other things. So that's what we're gonna be using tonight. So for this has it's stainless, but you see this non-stick coating. There's also a stainless grid. Maybe you guys can see, I'll zoom in real quick. There is a stainless grid on this pan. So whatever you put in this pan, you're gonna be able to sear it and get that cook like you want from a stainless pan. So let's get our recipe so we can follow it and show you how easy it is for this to come together. One thing I do wanna do is I wanna fluff my rice, because you don't want your rice to sit for too long or it'll kind of like mold to that pan. So this is our 3-quart micro cooker, and it does have 2 lids. This has been sitting out a little while, so I would recommend doing this with your fingers right away if you're taking it right out of the refrigerator, or excuse me, the microwave. Take a butter knife and pop that out. I'm gonna use the ice cream spade to fluff and serve rice because it's the perfect tool for that. So if you don't have the ice cream spade, add that to your wish list, which you can create a wish list on my website. So if you go to theflipflopchef.com, there's a button to shop my Pampered Chef website. Click that button and there's an option at the top for you to create a wish list. So add that to your wish list. Okay, so serving instructions. We're gonna heat 1 tablespoon of oil in a wok for 1 to 3 minutes. These instructions are for a typical regular stovetop. With induction, the preheat time is way faster. So I'm gonna take my really cool oil bottle. If you haven't seen this, super cool. When I squeeze this button on the side, it squirts little oil drops into the top here where I can actually measure out teaspoons or tablespoons. I'm gonna heat this up in here, and then we're gonna add the thawed contents of bag number 2. Bag number 2 is the vegetables, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook these vegetables for 3 to 5 minutes. So this has broccoli, carrots, and our Asian seasoning mix. We're gonna saute that in the pan for 3 to 5 minutes just until the broccoli is slightly tender. You don't want it mushy. I mean, if you like, I like twice steamed broccoli, so if you're like me, you can cook it a little bit longer, or you can even steam it before you put it in here. See how fast my pan heats up? All right, I'm gonna put this on medium now. Take my fish spatula, toss this a little bit. Now, while I'm doing this, if you guys are not familiar, I have a YouTube channel, so most of my videos are not live. Most of my videos, I pre-record them and I post content most every day, Monday through Friday. Not every week, especially in the summertime. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil, by the way, to this. But I pre-record them, and you'll find them first if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So you can find me anywhere by looking for the Flip Flop Chef. I'm the one, the only Flip Flop Chef, and I'm really excited that earlier this year I was able to trademark that. So it's really exciting. Okay, so we're gonna saute our vegetables, and then it says, add the thawed contents of bag number 1 and cook for 3 to 5 minutes or until the broccoli is crisp tender and the chicken is hot, and serve with rice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this saute just a little bit longer because it doesn't need much time because my pan heats up really fast. This cookware distributes the heat evenly. So even if you have a stove that's not really great, let's say the burner only heats up on one side, our cookware is great whether you're getting the stainless nonstick or a regular nonstick. It distributes the heat evenly. So even if you have a terrible stovetop, our cookware is really gonna impress you, and it has a lifetime guarantee, both lines of cookware. Another line of cookware that you can use on your induction stovetop is our cast iron. So we have regular cast iron, and then we have our enameled cast iron. All right, so this has our sauce. So I wanna make sure I don't melt the bag. So I don't want it to be in the pot, but I'm gonna press out all the liquid. Another thing you can do with this is if you have a lot of liquid left in there, just cut the corner like an icing bag and squeeze it out that way. And you can always add extra sauce. So when you're making this recipe, we did not use the whole bottle. One thing that I like to do with stir-fry sauce is make dumplings. So you can buy the dumplings frozen. You can get them at Walmart, Aldi, Sam's Club, Publix, anywhere. Buy the dumplings. You can microwave them in a micro cooker in water. Strain off the water, and then pop them in your Deluxe air fryer to crisp them up, and then serve them with some of the stir-fry sauce that you use for this recipe. So this smells and looks so good. All right. Remember, if you have questions, just leave them in the comments. And if you've seen anything that you would like to purchase tonight, I would love the opportunity to help you. I will post links, but you're welcome to ask me for anything that you would like. And I will post the recipes tomorrow in my recipe community, flipflopchef.com, or excuse me, theflipflopchef.com. Make sure to tell you right. Click the button at the top of the page, and it'll redirect you to the group. All right, so I'm gonna make this pretty. For my family, we would not be doing the prettiness, but I want a nice picture. But for my family, we would just scoop out the rice and scoop out the vegetables on the top. Now you're gonna see, I'm leaving some of this in here because I have a couple of picky twins who want plain rice, or they only want fried rice from the hibachi place, or when Jenny comes. So hey Jenny, if you're watching, we're ready for some more fried rice. So those of you who know me well and follow me, Jenny is one of my best friends. We've been friends for a long time, and she stayed with the boys. She flew down to Florida, stayed with the boys so Keith and I could go on the Pampered Chef incentive trip to Puerto Rico back in May. I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to go on that vacation. So thank you again, Jenny. Okay, so we're gonna pour the vegetables on top of the rice and make it pretty. Now, if you enjoyed this tonight and you would like more, I would like for you to let me know in the comments. If this is really popular, then I might do something like this again. But I have another event that I want to tell you about that is super fun, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. I am going to do a cook-along on July 6th, so not many days away. A lot of you guys are registered for that. It's open to anybody who's not a Pampered Chef consultant, and I apologize for not being able to open it to other consultants, but I have a limit on my Zoom room, and that event is going to be a private event in my Zoom room. We're gonna cook along together, and I have a neighbor, Bailey. You guys are gonna get to meet her. She's gonna come over, and she's gonna manage the comments and help anybody who needs help getting into the room. If you have any issues, she's gonna be manning my phone and helping people with that. If you haven't registered for that, you can find that link on any of the pages on Facebook that you might be following me on, and I would love for you to participate. We're gonna make a chicken bacon ranch sheet pan meal. It's delicious, it's amazing. It's broccoli, potatoes, and chicken seasoned with Pampered Chef's ranch seasoning, or if you're joining and you're like, oh, I'll have ranch seasoning, you can order it and it might get there in time, or you can just buy something at the grocery store, like Hidden Valley has their own powdered ranch mix. We're also gonna make cheesy bread. also on a sheet pan. And then I'm gonna show you how to make a delicious salad, and you can serve it with whatever dressing that you like. So the cook along is on July 6th, and this tonight is our power cooking class. I really hope that you've enjoyed everything that I've shared with you. I'm sure when I go offline, I'm gonna go, oh, I forgot to do that. But I hope that this was good information. I am gonna add some chives. I pre-wash all these and just keep them in the fridge. I know it keeps them fresher if you do it as you go, but I'm gonna just garnish this with some chives. You could use, green onions. You could do the white and the green, but I'm just gonna add some chives for a garnish. My kids and my husband hate the garnish. They wish I would just leave it off. But the garnish is so good, so they have to pick it off if they don't like it. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer those after the event is over. And if you'd like to do this again, let me know that, and maybe I'll come back with some more power cooking recipes. And make sure you check out tomorrow theflipflopchef.com. Go to my recipe community, and that's where you're gonna find the files for everything that I showed you today. But check this out. Isn't this beautiful? It smells delicious, and this is our dinner tonight. And I have 2 more meals to put in the freezer for another night when I'm busy. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining me. This is the first time I've done anything like this for you guys, and I just am overwhelmed by the feedback that I got beforehand, and I hope that you are thrilled with the content that I shared with you today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. But that's all I have for you today. See you next time. Bye, you guys.